Hi, welcome to the Black TV Show podcast. I'm your host, Miriam Temeskin.
Welcome back to the show, or I guess to the podcast. Um, we are on episode 4. Oh my god, we're already on episode 4. So today we're going to be talking about the Cosby Show season 1, episode 4. Is That My Boy? This aired on October 11th, 1984, and this is another episode where it's just the family at home. Of course, Cliff and Theo leave the home, but we never actually see them play football outside the home. And which is, as I told you in the previous episode, I like episodes where it's just the family and they're just at home, everyday life. So we start off with Rudy is bothering Vanessa by yelling her name, and to the point where she's bothering the parents, and Claire is like, "I am doing books. I can't deal with this. Cliff, you do it." And Cliff is like, "Well, they're calling your name. That's why we have different names." And she's like, "I can't. I have to do these books." Cliff goes up and she's like asking Rudy, "Why are you bothering Vanessa?" Um, and basically, I could tell from that scene is that no one wants to play with her, and so that's why she is bothering Vanessa. So Cliff tells her, "You can go to my room, so you're separated from Vanessa, and you can watch TV." And so she's like, "Okay, I'm good." And so then we get back to the downstairs to the main living room, where the scene that was with Rudy and Vanessa was upstairs in the hallway. So then Theo comes in, and at this point it's 5 p.m. in the house, but school let out at 3 p.m. So Cliff is like, "What is happening? Where's the where were you for the last 2 hours?" And Theo didn't really want to talk about it, but Cliff was like, "You gotta tell me, even if it's like I can't remember what he said. It was like drug related or something to that effect." And so Theo Theo was like, I made the football team," and Cliff's eyes they dance, and he's very happy because Cliff has played football in college. He's just such a football fan. And he starts to dream about the future will be of Theo playing, being like a star player. And Cliff kept saying, "My prayers have been answered." And so then Theo starts talking uh, about like he just tried out just to be on the field. He didn't really care to be on the team. He clearly realized he didn't have the skills to be like the first string players. And so he was telling us, a few of his friends got cut out, which includes Cockroach. This is the first time that we're hearing about Cockroach. Just like last episode, it was the first time hearing about Janet Miser. So these are the friends that there will be actual people playing these characters. And so I can't remember if he's in season 1, but he's definitely in season 2 a lot. And he is played by Carl Anthony Payne II. He's also on Martin, so he's like you would recognize him right away who he is, and he will be the one playing Theo's high school friend. So I just wanted to mention that the fact that this is the first time hearing about him. And of course, that's his nickname. That's not his real name. I believe his real name would be Walter. And then we get to the nighttime and it's dinner time. And Cliff looks back to his photo. I don't know if this is like a yearbook or a photo book. Sorry, I'm under the weather right now. And I didn't have a yearbook at university. I'm a little confused how he has this book. Maybe back in the day, because there wasn't cell phones, they took pictures and put it in a book and either gave it to the team and stuff like that. And so Cliff goes back to a photo book from 1958 and talks about his football game and the plays that the individual plays that they did. And of course, that game they lost. And Cliff says the ball should have gone to him, but it didn't. They passed. And Claire was like telling Cliff that, and Claire was like, well, you were distracted. That is why. And then Claire's telling Cliff not to put pressure on Theo because she could see already that excitement that he has to put that pressure on Theo because his prayers have been answered, you know? Theo comes in and he wants to train with Cliff. And then everyone else is coming in for dinner. And Claire asks, where's Rudy? And Cliff was like, oh, I left her in the bedroom. So he's about to run out and he throws the ball into Theo's chest. And you could see that Theo's like in pain when that happens. But he holds it in. And Cliff goes and gets Rudy, and when they come back, Rudy is like, no one wants to eat with me. And Cliff's like, no, they're all waiting for you in the kitchen. And then when they get to the kitchen, everyone is done eating. Cliff is like, oh, it will just be the two of us. And then like Rudy's like, no, and she just runs off because she doesn't want to eat alone. So that's the end of the first act of this episode. And as I said, back in the day, there would be a commercial break at this point. We come back and Theo's getting ready to play football with Cliff. And Cliff comes down and he's wearing this like helmet and like a shirt and like really tight pants. And like, I don't know those shoes, I can't remember the name of them, but no face mask, because at this point in time I believe face masks are required to play football. And he was like, what are you wearing? He's like, well, back then this is what the outfit was. And Claire mentions that like they didn't wear a face mask at that time. Cliff talks about Theo's great grandfather being a general, and I believe he says the name is, he has the same name as the general. His name is Theo, but he calls himself he's not an actual general. He called himself general because he was a big guy. And then Theo's like, oh, really? So tell me about it. And he tells him to come sit down on the couch. And Cliff is like, no, we gotta go play. Well, like, we could talk about it while we're walking into the field. And you could tell Theo is stalling. He just doesn't want to play. He knows he's not good. And finally he gives in and he goes out, and Cliff I guess this is like a ready position, and he throws the ball into Theo's chest, and you can see he's in pain. So they come back from the game. We cut to the kitchen. We see Rudy is sad, and Vanessa says she's just trying to get attention. Claire tries to get Rudy happy by saying, let's make gingerbread, and she's happy about it. And she tries to get the sisters involved. And Denise is like, no, I have homework, I can't. And Claire was like, I doubt it. But she's like, okay, whatever. And so then Claire asks Rudy to get the flour, and she brings the flour, and Claire's like, I hope we have enough. And Rudy's like, I'll check, and she dumps it on the ground. I feel bad for her because of course she is 5 years old, so I really feel bad for her. Vanessa calls Rudy a baby, and Rudy sorry, today I'm just off. Rudy goes and she's like, I'm not a baby, and she runs out and goes to her fort outside, and Claire comes to her fort, and Claire's like, can I come in? And there's a shot where you see Rudy's hands, and of course Rudy's 5, right? So her hands are very small. So she grabs Claire's finger with all her hands, and it's just the cutest shot ever. Oh my god, I love it. It made the whole episode for me. And then she brings her to the fort, and Claire explains, it's sad that I know it's hard being the youngest out of 5 children, and like the fact that no one wants to play with her. And Rudy says, it's being 4 is worse. And Claire's like, why? Because 4, and Rudy's like, 4 is a baby. And Claire says, well, let's celebrate being 5. And because she's like, you can tie your own shoelaces, you could dial the phone, you can go to kindergarten. Last year she couldn't do none of that. And Rudy said because she was nothing. And Claire was like, no, you were not nothing. And Claire convinces Rudy that 5 is good. And so they do a chant where it's like, yay, 5. And then Rudy asks Claire the not a great question to ask a mother. How old is Claire? And Claire was like, old. She just was like, I don't want to say my actual age. And Rudy's like, yay, old. And it's the cutest thing ever. It really teaches, like, for me, I was, at the time with my cousins, I was the youngest. I'm an only child, so I didn't have siblings, so my cousins were kind of like my siblings. And I was like way younger than they were. I think the youngest one out of all of them was 7 years older than me, so I really didn't relate to them, and I was always alone. TV was my thing. I played with imaginary people, so I understand like that feeling of being a nothing, and no one wants to play with you or do things with you. So I wish I had someone to tell me, yay 5 or yay 6, or when I was growing up. So this is such a relatable story for so many kids. So we get back to Theo, and Cliff comes back from the practice, and Cliff looks sad. And Claire even mentions, your eyes are not dancing. And so Cliff is like, the boy did nothing. Claire explains that there are 45 people on the team, and only 22 people get to play, and 23 stay on the bench, so the bench doesn't fly off. And Theo is that bench person. The different I don't know football that well, so sorry about that. This episode's not my thing. I wish I had someone that understands sports, because that would have been great. But they tried every position of the football team, and he just, like, in terms of the practice, he couldn't do any of it. He couldn't catch the ball. And he, at one point, he caught the ball and did a dance for like 20 minutes. Cliff said he will never score, and Claire was like, you didn't tell that to Theo, and he's like, no, I'm telling that to you now. And so, because of course that would break his self-esteem basically if he told him direct. Then Theo comes downstairs and he mentions to Claire and Cliff, he's like, I know I might not have playing time. He's basically asking for support, and Claire is like, yeah, we'll support you in the stands. She's like so there, and Cliff was like kind of hesitant, and Cliff is like, are you sure you want to be on there, like on the team? And Theo was like, yeah, for sure, because I'm on the team, I get to be on the field, and all the other people that didn't make it on the team don't get to be on the field. So I am happy, and that's right there. When he says he's happy about that, that means you let that person do what they want to do, even if they're not good. He clearly understands he's not good, but he's happy to be on the bench, and he just wants support from his parents, and so. Cliff tells Theo to show his touchdown dance to Claire, and it was like a weird, I don't even know what you call it, but it's like, I don't even know how to describe his dance through voice. It's better if you saw it in person, but it was a weird dance, but he ended up leading to the stairs. And then we get back to the kitchen, where Cliff is talking about that same past football game from 1958. And Claire says Cliff showed off during that game, and that is why they did not give the ball to Cliff. And we end the show right there. I think the lesson in terms of about Theo is that you gotta support, like, the people that you love. support them. No matter how good or bad they are in whatever they're doing, you support them. It's like, if you really love that person, you support them with whatever. So parents, if you see your children, they're not good, but they are happy with and content with that, you support them, you know? For me, in my experience, I feel like as a young age, I really wanted to do dance, but I didn't feel like I had the support to do it. So, like, I had support, I believe, when I played on the basketball team in junior high, but that was about it. And I guess water polo, when I also in junior high, that I think the junior high had a lot of support when I was playing sports. But once I got to high school, it was hard to convince my family about musical theater, even though my cousin had done it. So make sure you support the people you love, you know? The hashtag for this show is hashtag support and hashtag yay5, because we gotta, it's the Yay 5 is the accomplishment of Rudy being 5. So we gotta support her. So I actually created a Twitter account for this podcast, and it's called Black TV Shows Pod. So hashtag the support and hashtag Yay5 to the Twitter. I'm sorry, I'm so new with Twitter. I don't even use Twitter just for my personal. So you can use those hashtags. And the question I have for you as the audience is, have you done an activity that you were not good at, but you love doing it? Let me know on Twitter. I love doing basketball. I love doing water polo. I don't know if I was really good at water polo. To be honest, I was very slow, but I did enjoy, you know, being in the water. But I knew I was very slow, especially when we were doing like laps, like training laps and stuff like that. But it was a fun workout basically for me. So that is the end of this episode. I hope you're enjoying the episode. I am watching these episodes on Amazon Prime. So if you want to watch along with me with the podcast, get Amazon Prime. You're also, once you get Amazon Prime, I think you can also shop and get things the same day kind of thing. So make sure you get it so you could be listening along with me. And the next episode is season 1, episode 5, A Shirt Story. And this is another iconic episode. So I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. And I will see you next week on the episode. Bye.